Welcome to Road to Blake Street, I guess we can call it this time. Where one of us knows what the word banter means, the other two are just three are along for the ride. Tyler, say what's up.
What is up?
And we are joined by minor league royalty, Stephen Rice and Johnny Bravo. What's up, fellas?
Hey, how you
It's good to
doing?
see him, man. Out of at least the two of us, Steven's much more likely to know what banter is than me.
Yeah, he's just being nice.
I mean, Johnny's on a high right now. Dude man was on the MLB pod talking about Fresno, the tequila. Was it? It's not tequila throwdown.
Tequila Fest.
Yeah.
Tequila Fest.
Oh,
Yep. So got to go on with Ben and all that. Yeah, man, it's been an exciting couple months.
Like I was like, does that really say Johnny Bravo? I was like, that can't be my Johnny Bravo. That's not my Johnny Bravo. And then sure enough, there he is. Just it was fantastic. And
Right?
I know. And I know. I don't know if they have it on video, but I was listening to the pod, but like this mustache. If you are listening, you need to just go stop by the YouTube because this will be posted and you need to
it's
see the
exceptional.
Johnny
Yeah,
Bravo stash.
something different for the off season, right? Got into the off season, was like, how can we kind of mix it up, keep things fresh? And I for one thought it wouldn't last more than a couple weeks because totally expected the girlfriend to be like, no, awful. And go figure, however many months later, we're still here and kind of see how long it can make it to season. I've noticed, we were kind of talking before we started recording around this time, stuff starts to get a little bit more intense. We start to get into season and I've developed this nervous tick where I start to like pick at it.
Yeah.
So you might find me with like a huge bald patch come beginning of April. But we'll see.
It's nice too because now he looks like our AGM a little bit, and we always kind of give some smack about it. So now we have a couple guys who have some great mustaches, and then our president has a nice beard. So everyone, that has some royalty in here has some nice stuff going on when it comes to facial.
Love that. It looks good. I'm glad
Thank
you
you.
have it. I'm glad I'm getting to
Thank
see
you.
it here. This is awesome. And yeah, we were just talking about like this is kind of our inaugural or yearly. Hey, baseball's right around the corner time. Like this is third year going into it. You guys are family of the pod. Like you guys are right up there with Dukes, and like we are getting all up in it. So I guess let's just expand on kind of what we were talking about off camera. Like, how is the stress level going into it from a front office point of view? Because we see the spring training, we see the ballers balling out, we see all the chaos that's happening on the field, but like behind it, there's still 15, 20, 30 guys, 30 people doing work. What does it look like as we get closer and closer to that date?
Absolutely. Like you said, yeah, it's stressful, but it's an exciting stress, right? Knowing that is of when we're recording, we're 33 days away from first pitch out here at Chukchansi Park. Once the calendar starts marking 100 days until first pitch, it's okay, here we go. You better start picking it up. At this point, things are running full cylinders. Our ticketing guys are still here making calls, even though it's 6 p.m. local time here. It's really feeling like baseball season. There's a buzz around the office that usually don't get until baseball season starts or just before baseball season, and it's a really, really good time to be here.
I love it because our media has been really adamant about just making sure that, hey, baseball's here. When can we go? We want to get to games as fast as possible, from the promos to the team in general. Everybody's super excited about it. And it's the first time we've seen in a couple years now where really everything is now starting to kind of come in place and it feels really normal, but it's also a nervous normal, which is not a bad thing.
No, like, yeah, seasoned vets, right? Like you've been around the block a few years now, like, because you both started that first year, right? That 2021, or were you around for a little bit before that?
I was there before. I
remember.
started as an intern in 2016, so I've been
Okay.
been around the block a little bit longer than Jonathan. I mean, he's been here long enough now where he's got the system down, and it's nothing new to him.
Yeah,
Right.
but I got hired February of 2020, so before
that.
everything hit the fan. So you've got to imagine 2020 was a really weird year. 2021, starting with, limited capacity was kind of weird. 2022, some other, kind of weird things where, again, 2023, it's really starting to feel like, okay, this is what it's supposed to feel like. There's definitely a buzz around town. It's really fun fun to, wherever you look, whether it's online or, even in billboards around town to see, oh my gosh, there's the Fresno Grizzlies. It must be almost time for baseball season. And, we've got more people asking us every day, how many days until first pitch? Or, when is, your Marvel's Defenders of the Diamond Knight, stuff like that. It's really starting to feel like baseball season.
Yeah, and I think this is the season of all gas, no breaks. That's how I feel about it, at least. I feel like I'm a kid again with this season. We've had two really weird starts back to back. Yeah. I mean, it's been crazy for years, and now it's just like full go. So I can't even imagine the buzz. I wish I was feeling your guys' buzz because
and I think
it's crazy for me.
Crazy about it too is that with the time clock now in spring training, we've dealt with the time clock for years now, and so to be honest, it feels normal to us, where it's like, wow, now Major League Baseball has this going on. It kind of goes, wow, we have to get ready for our time clock and everything in between with that kind of stuff. So it really is nice.
Well, it's fun to watch the World Baseball Classic too, and be like, okay, there is baseball. It's right around the corner. Obviously, the spring training, is really fun to get to see all the players report, but there's people playing meaningful games right now. Obviously, all the spring training games are meaningful. You guys know what I mean. But it's really cool to get to see that and be like, okay, we're up next. We're ready to go. Come at us. We're ready April 11th.
Yeah. We're still ready. We're still down here doing our work here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, and you both just set me up for a segue. So I think I'm going to go with Johnny there first. Like, I saw on your Twitter, you got to create that World Baseball Classic with the Fresno former players and where they're at and where they're playing. Like, another just notch on your belt, like this is awesome type thing. Like, what's that all about? Like, was that your idea? Did that come from above? Like, what was the deal behind that?
Sure, absolutely. So, one of the things we're really passionate about as an organization, being in our 25th season now as the Fresno Grizzlies, we've got a lot of history, right? We've had, obviously the huge names where you've got your Buster Posies, Tim Lincecum, Madison Bumgarners having come through Fresno. But, we've really had a whole lineage of players that we always try to pay tribute to, whether it's the World Baseball Classic or even, if two non-affiliate or non-Grizzlies affiliate teams are playing in the World Series, we always try and call out, hey, these guys did make it through Fresno, because we're really extremely proud that all of our players are farm grown in the Central Valley and then get to continue up to those next levels. On a personal note, getting to do the World Baseball Classic graphics. I mean, I said in my tweet, right, where if you told, I think I said 13-year-old Johnny of, hey, you'll actually have the 80-page brand identity guide from Major League Baseball to go through and help create the graphics for the World Baseball Classic, I wouldn't believe you, right? Like, what a phenomenal opportunity. And, Steven did the heavy lifting of finding all the players, cross-referencing our all-time roster with who's on the current World Baseball Classic rosters. And it was really a team effort for sure.
It was so much fun to see it. But my favorite thing was watching JB literally show me the guide that they had. I mean, they had everything from size of fonts or something like that.
I don't know exactly what's proprietary to what isn't, but to the point where the stroke around the font was different depending on what size font you used. Where it's stuff like that. It was so detail oriented, which was really cool to get to see. Wow, there's a lot of resources put into this event, as there should be. It's really, the way I was describing it to my girlfriend is, it's really the World Cup of baseball, right? How often do you get to see, Team Italy and Team Israel and obviously Team United States all go against each other, and a preseason tournament is really something special.
And it's fun seeing the former players too, from Garrett Stubbs, who, I didn't know he had lineage of back with his great grandmother, I believe, in Israel, to Jamie Rich, who's playing for Great Britain, and these guys who've just, played a couple years with us. Now all of a sudden it's like, wow, I didn't know that this was an upbringing that you had. And now it's like, wow, I get to know these guys even more at this level.
That's like one of my favorite things, like seeing some of these names on those teams, like how, and then it's like, grandmothers, mothers, uncle or something. Like, there's like these weird lineages. It's so much fun, like seeing where they come from. Like Lars Nootbaar is Japan. On the Japan team, right? And it's like, really, that guy? And then sure enough, there he is. So it is fun, and it's cool. It's crazy that like they sent you all that. Like, that would, just as a baseball fan, like there's no way you're not geeking out about something like that. That's sweet.
Well, and it's one of those things, that I think we can at least partially contribute to Major League Baseball having a very heavy hand with MLB, PDL, and minor league baseball. Those are the things that's just one example of the multiple things that the league sends us throughout the season to, not only make sure that all the teams are using consistent branding, using the consistent toolkits, but, also gives us the tools to be able to put that thing together. It would have been very easy to just have it be, Chukchansi Park in the background and use our fonts and boom, done, call it good. But they are providing us the tools to get to create these really unique on-brand graphics, which, on my side, on the director of marketing side, I really appreciate, because it makes it look like we are completely aligned with the tournament, which we are. So it's really a nice added benefit of getting to be part of the whole Major League Baseball umbrella.
And it gives me a reason to stay up till 3 a.m. So
right.
Right.
I feel that. Like, I love staying up late, but do I really have a reason to be? Usually not. And then for you, Steven, like, we got started by fighting over you with Patrick Lyons, and like, he's a family of the pod too, so it's all good. But like, so you guys, I guess, just let me get my thoughts together. Lessen the worry, lessen the chaos of everybody that doesn't follow minor league baseball, and that is Major League Baseball, and how all these rules really aren't that bad. Pitch clock, the throwing over, the bigger bases, like, you all saw that for an entire season firsthand in the flesh. Like, how, like, just calm everybody's nerves. Like, this is still baseball.
Yeah.
But like, baseball. Chill out, dog.
So, me, I'm an old school baseball heart. I'm love everything about old school baseball, but the things that have now been put into place are good for baseball. I love, first of all, that they've eliminated shifts. Now there's still teams figuring out ways to go around that. I have seen that happen, but as a whole is allowing hitters now to go back and hit the way they are, and allowing pitchers now to say, all right, you don't have to shift, get this really good hitter out with the regular spot that everyone's going to be at. That's really good, because then it allows for more offensive possibly, but also allows to see better matchups between pitchers and batters. And to be honest, I love the idea that you have to have specific people placed in certain areas the whole time, because even though if you do want to do a little bit of a shift, then it allows you to kind of be creative of where you put your players, and you allow to see guys do what they can in the field. On top of it too, the bigger bases, so much better. It's a safety hazard when they have the smaller bases. With bigger bases now, it allows guys to, especially at first base, where the fielder can be on one side and the batter and the runner can kind of hit the other side. And there's not going to be guys where you have a Tim Hudson incident where you step on a guy and his ankle, gets injured and stuff like that. So it's a really good thing to have that. And to be honest, from our vantage point, especially at our ballpark, you don't really notice that the bases are bigger at all. I did not see a difference. No one else really saw a difference. And you've seen the pictures. They're noticeably bigger, but from a fan point of view, you don't really notice the difference. And as a player point of view, they love it. So it allows for more stolen bases. Mike Trout will maybe not break his hand now, sliding to second base, and it's allowing these players to be healthier and to steal more bases, as we've seen Zach Veen do all the time so far in spring training. And then the best thing about all this is the time clock.
We've had best thing. All right, there's our headline. The best thing happened to baseball. There we go.
We could probably do an entire podcast on Steven just talking about the time clock, to be honest.
It's the greatest thing ever.
Go.
I might go down to block, go get some dinner or something. I'll come back when these is settled down.
It's amazing. I mean, we've had it for years now. And what I love about it is when you have a game that's 30 minutes shorter and you still have the same amount of runs. I think there was a stat that I just saw on Twitter this morning where in spring training, same amount of runs, same amount of hits, and the games are 30 minutes shorter. So you're getting more action in short amount of time. How is that not more fun?
I know.
And on top of it too, it allows all the little antics that bother us, from a pitcher stepping off multiple times to a batter doing little dances that don't seem relevant, or taking his batting gloves on and off. That stuff can get very obsolete at this point. And when you get rid of that and just says, all right, give me your best spot, and if you can't figure out your pitch in 13 seconds, advantage one to the other. And I think that is such a cool mind game. I know the Rockies and our coaching staff over the past couple of years have practiced that in spring training, despite it not being at the major league level. So these guys are ready when they come here. And it's been an advantage for us over the past couple of years. We've had the fastest time of game over the past 2 years. And on top of it too, we've only had 9 to 10 violations in the 2 years combined. So you
Right.
won't see the craziness of a game ending in a tie with that kind of stuff. And at the same time, too, at some point, everyone's going to get lenient on it, and it's going to go back to where everyone's going to feel comfortable. And as long as you have the right time clock person running it, you're in good shape.
Mhm. Right. And I think the other thing that people forget when it comes to the pitch clock, like you're not throwing signs down anymore. You have the pitch calm that's giving you those signs and it's coming right to you right away. And you don't have to play the mind game, switching up everything too. So like,
Right.
here it is, throw it. And like, you can still shake it off and figure it out like that. Like that just, yeah. So, I mean, yeah,
the pitch comp's interesting. I know our team didn't use it as much last year, as compared to some other teams, because we want our catchers to be able to call the game. From Drew Romo in 2021 to Braxton Fulford last year, they wanted them to call the game so they had the comfortability with the pitcher. And so, to be honest, it didn't really matter because both guys had an idea of what they wanted to throw. And if it was kind of one of those things where like, all right, if the first thing I put down is not what it is, then just throw something else and I'll be ready for it kind of thing. And everyone was really comfortable at some point with it. So even with PitchCom or without it, it's still not a factor with that time clock.
right.
Yeah, and I was gonna ask about the violations, because in the probably dozen minor league games I was at last year, I saw maybe two, which was each one was kind of like okay, that was really weird and interesting, but it should be very infrequent, and I think that's something that did get blown out of proportion initially, because we've seen quite a large handful already in spring training, but I would hope maybe one a week per team, like once things get rolling, if that.
I mean, it is that. And I mean, the biggest things, a lot of our violations that happened were early on in the year with guys getting used to it, or just guys trying to get used to it, and umpires, because every crew is different. Every time clock person that's running the time clock is different. And so these players had to get used to it. Zach Veen's, one of his first strikeouts in pro baseball was because of the time clock. And so, it's one of those things where you just have to adjust, and the big leaguers are adjusting. This is the time for them to adjust. And as long as they have an idea of what the umpires want, it shouldn't be a big issue at all.
All right. So heard it here first. Pitch clock is good for baseball. So there it is. And I agree. And I think you and I are in the same mindset, traditionalists, and love the baseball, love the mind games. But there is a certain point where just 3.5 hours, especially for me, like as an East Coast fan of a mountain time zone, it is so hard to stay up for those times to like see the whole game. Like nobody really cares. Like honestly, like it needs 1 through 4, 1 through 5. Like, give me a game that starts in the 6th inning and let me finish it. And it's so hard to finish those games as a fan. And now that I can, it's so much better and so much nicer. What about like from the team standpoint, like concessions? So that's always the old heads fun argument to bring in. Yeah, but they're gonna lose out on so much money at the concessions. They gotta stop selling beer at the 7th inning. Blah blah blah. I have my point of view from a fan perspective, but like from a scene behind the scene part of the team, like what do you see like on that side, and how can you shut up those haters?
Sure. Yeah. I personally don't have, the numbers from pre-time clock to post-time clock for us. I did see, I think it was a Baseball America article earlier this week or last week that said there was really no difference between pre-time clock to post-time clock. And at the end of the day, the really good point that article made, which we put into words kind of what I've always felt, is that, fans are going to stay 2.5 hours, let's say, no matter if the game is in the 6th inning or the 9th inning, right? So with this time clock, with the games going faster, it means more fans will get to stay for the end of the game, which is really, really good for, maybe that little kid whose bedtime is, he has to be asleep by 9:30 at night in order to wake up for school the next day. We're finishing these games by 9:30, which means you get to see the entire baseball game. Really, really good for, the young individuals who are trying to get to know and love baseball, right? So, in terms of a effect, I guess you could say, on our fan base, if anything, it's been positive, because it means that people do get to stay to the end of the games. We run we have fans run the bases after every single game out here at Chukchansi Park. And to get to see, fans get to do that and it not be 11:30 at night is great, right? Because it means that there's more kids out here. There's more people who, aren't exhausted from not only working a full day, but then coming out to a 3.5 hour, a baseball game, to get to stay for the true experience, right? Because especially in minor league baseball, that's what we're trying to provide. There's an awesome baseball game on the field. All of us on this video really care about what happens on the field, right? At the end of the day, though, we want to be able to provide a full experience from the moment the fans park their cars to the moment they leave at the end of the night. And getting to have them stay for the entire game and not leave in the 7th or 8th inning because, it's getting late. The game looks like it's, kind of done. They might change their mind because the games are going so much faster.
And to add on to it a little bit too is that article that you're talking about, they said in the article that a lot of people are already at concession stands in general. So what's really going to hurt someone that's already going to be there if a game's a little bit shorter too? I mean, of course, when he said running the bases was exactly what I was thinking. It's a huge thing for a lot of fans, whether you're young or old. I mean, we have tons of pictures of people just smiling because they get a chance to do that with their family and friends.
Yep. Yeah, as a dad of a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old, I was more inclined to go to games last year on a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday night that started at 6:30, going like, all right, I could get most of this game in. We could leave at 8:30. Maybe we stay, see where it's at, see how they're doing, and then we go. Like I was at the ballpark midweek the most last year with kiddos than I've ever been in the past. So like that was definitely running through my head. Like, all right, my kids can actually enjoy this. I can enjoy it, and we can all be part of it together. And it, like exactly to your point, like it's real.
Well, I think there's an argument in that statement itself, right? That you might not have gone to those games at all. Right. You
exactly.
might have thought, why am I spending the money? Why am I spending the time to go out on a Tuesday night when I'm going to have to leave in the 6th inning? It's not the experience I want. Whereas now you have the ability to make those decisions of, it is a Tuesday night, but, we'll probably be home by 9:30 and not feel bad about leaving in the middle of the game. Yeah. And I think, one of the big things that I know Major League Baseball is pushing is growing the youth interest in the sport because it is part of the game that is struggling. And this is such a good way to do it. It is such a good step to make sure that kids are able to stay for the entire experience.
And one thing too about a front office as well too is that when a game finishes earlier and we maybe have a day game the next day, I know Hartford has a lot of day games and they start, 11 a.m. If they're not getting their game done until 11 o'clock the night before the time clock, now they have a small window to be ready for the next game. Now I'm getting home at 10:30 o'clock, 10:30, 11 o'clock. Yep. I'm getting home, which means I get to sleep a little bit more and come in and be ready for it instead of what it's been in the past.
Yeah, it's a nice work-life balance for everybody involved. Like it really is a nice thing as experiencing at the minor league level. Like it was great. And so I'm really curious how it plays out at the major league levels. Because I saw the Tigers, like that's the team I'm going to watch. They moved all their games from 7:05 start time to 6:35 start time, along with the 2.5 hour average time. Like you can go downtown Detroit and be out of there by 10 o'clock. And like that allows so much more flexibility. So like a lot of people are against like, no, there's no way fans want this, blah, blah, blah. I think you're going to see an uptick in a lot of like just everything all around. But so you heard it here first, not on the DNVR podcast. That is what we do here at Blake Street Banter. So you're well, Patrick, I'm sorry. Sorry. Yeah, that's all I got. Yeah. But yeah, definitely get on Patrick's pod and go expand some more because he'll probably have more questions, better questions than we do. All right, let's talk Fresno. Let's talk Grizzlies. Let's get into that kind of stuff. I have so many questions. I was thinking of a fun way to do it. I don't think I have anything for this, but I think the next segment I do. The promotion schedule. So I'm looking at it like there's promotions at the ballpark, then there's promotions that have nothing to do with baseball, like going back to what we started with, the Tequila Fest. I have this big question. What the heck is Pickle Palooza? On May, it's like a May, I had it May
28th.
May 28th, because I got super stoked because the Yard Goats have a bouncing pickle identity now. And then I literally saw like the next day or two that Fresno's got the pickles going on. So I'm just constantly refreshing the Topes and the Spokane, like seeing if there's anything coming up. But like, what is Pickle Palooza? And yeah.
Absolutely. It's one of those things that when we approach making our promotional calendar every year, there's those dates that you're going to have every single season, right? You're going to have your Star Wars night, your Marvel's Defenders of the Diamond night, all the ones that, have to come back year after year after year and should come back year after year after year. But with every season, we want to try new things, right? So whether that's our Swipe Right night, which is our take on, kind of a singles night, dating night, or Pickle Palooza, like you said. I mean, first off, it's a fun name and it's fun to say, and yes. I would be lying if I didn't say that helped, decide to do it. There's a lot of different avenues that we're planning to take with us. I mean, the concession stand thing is, top of mind, right? Where what can we make that's pickled flavored on the concession stand side of things, even if it's a little weird. Years ago we had the chickle, which was I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but it was a chicken sandwich in a pickle, right?
100%. That's
in a pickle.
Yeah. So, that was one of the weird food items we did a few years back, which helped inspire this. The other thing is that pickleball has definitely taken off in California, if not across the United States. We have a really, really great partner in Fresno Social Sports, which runs a lot of adult leagues out here in the Central Valley, and trying to find a way to potentially incorporate pickleball as well. So one of the fun things with broad names like Pickle Palooza or Pajama Jam is we can kind of have a lot of creative freedom as to what we want to apply for those individual theme nights.
Yeah, it's going to be really fun. Now, one thing too, though, is I hope that there's not Oreos and pickles involved. We have tried it at some point.
That's right.
Yeah, so just so you're aware. So if you haven't tried it, you got to try it.
Yeah, I think that was last year's spot. I think we right before we did this last year. So.
That sounds real. I think you're right.
That sounds disgusting. Maybe that's a food challenge in the middle of the third or something. Like who can eat the most pickle Oreos without throwing up before whatever. Tyler, what were some of the ones that stood out to you on that promotional calendar?
I mean, we need to hear a little bit more about Tequila Fest. That's another broad one.
Yeah.
There's some possibilities there. What are the plans?
Sure. So Tequila Fest is actually a non-game day event. One of the really unique things about having such a large, versatile ballpark is that when there isn't baseball happening here, chances are there's another event happening at the ballpark. So, we're extremely proud to open our doors to well over 200 events every single year. And that's everything from nonprofits hosting their fundraisers out here to something as extreme as Taco Truck Throwdown and Tequila Fest. So for Tequila Fest, we've got T.I., Rick Ross, and Lil Jon headlining it. When they told me that headline, it was like, what? How the heck did we get all three of these in the same building? So that's definitely the leading topic of conversation whenever we talk about Tequila Fest. But there's going to be a lot of great tequila tastings, a lot of great local music, local vendors, food trucks, of course. This event is under the Taco Truck Throwdown umbrella. So it's kind of like a precursor for this year's Taco Truck Throwdown, but in the middle of the season, whereas with Taco Truck Throwdown is in October. So extremely excited for it. It really, I feel, shows that Chukchansi Park is a place where, these massive events can come, right? We've got a lot of great local arenas in the Central Valley, and we're extremely lucky in that aspect. And we're very proud to be able to say, yeah, we're one of those two. We're going to have these three massive names out here on May 20th.
Yeah, that sounds fun. I would do that. And then the big one that stood out, Savannah Bananas. So they're doing their first year of traveling America, and you're hosting them. Is it one day or is it a few days?
One day here in Fresno in mid-July. It's going to be really, really special. Obviously, we're people who have followed their story like crazy just because what they do is so unique. It's so good for the game of baseball as a whole. I mean, I know I personally am really excited to kind of I don't know if shadow's the right word, but watch what their entertainment people do, watch what their production people do, because, even though, we can't have a rule where if a fan catches a fly ball, it's an out here with the Fresno Grizzlies. We should absolutely be taking inspiration from what their mindset is of, fans first, and that everything they do with a purpose to make sure that the experience out at their ballpark is the very best it can be. So we're very excited that they'll be able to, transform Chukchansi Park into their home ballpark for an evening.
And it's cool too, because the players are actually legitimate ball players. They're not just actors that are just putting on some fun stuff. These are legitimate ball players who were very good athletes when they played in college, who want to continue playing their baseball career, but now they have made it into a really fun event for everyone to enjoy. And I mean, the amount of attention and people saying, I'm going to Savannah Bananas, that is really cool for us, because now our ballpark being one of the biggest ballparks they're going to too, we get to showcase what it's all about here. And with all the new things we have at this ballpark, come on now, why would you not want to have a great event here?
Is there going to be a logo being combined? Like, am I going to get a taco hat with a banana in it? Like a grizzly eating banana?
Cool. That's something we can absolutely ask them. I think that'd be pretty neat. It's really a unique event for us, because the way they're handling their tours, they bring everything from their ticket takers to their ushers to obviously the players and the coaching staff. So it's a full-on production that's going on the road to all of these different ballparks, which it has to be, right? Our abilities here at Chukchansi Park is very different than what the spring training facilities they're going to are able to do. So it's been really fun to get to see what their thought process is, and it's going to be even more fun to get to actually watch them in action and put on the amazing show they have.
Yeah, that'll be sweet. Definitely jealous of that, because I don't think they're making their way up to West Michigan.
Well, come on down to California.
I'll ask later. Management's a little tired right now. So Steven, nice little segue there of all this stuff happening to the ballpark right now. So like last year, you guys put in the new speakers, the new scoreboard, you had all the new lights, like you had all of these things. What's happening now? Let me ask this question first. Let's open it with this. And I apologize if I say his name right, but is David Jacinto a little upset that you just took away his baby after winning the groundskeeper of the year award? Like, how mad was he?
He's not mad at all. I mean, when you win an award like that, you better get a new field. Let me tell you that. So this is a great thing for him. He's ecstatic about it, but I think at the same time too, I think he is a little bit nervous, because now this field is pristine. And I know that he wants to continue to bring that quality that he brings every day. And now he has to show it now with his new field. So kind of a mix of emotions, but he loves it.
Yeah. He's he won the groundskeeper of the year for the Cali League, right? And so that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
What was it? I was watching Wrexham, the Wrexham thing, and they put a new field out there, and it was terrible the first few games. Like, is there anything in the works to make sure that it can hold up to play? Like,
it will be good.
Freak me out. Like,
I know, right? Well, I mean, that's how I was feeling last year when we were putting in the new video board of, oh my gosh, absolutely ready? Is it going to turn on? Yada yada yada. Like it's still kind of wake up in a cold sweat kind of deal. But with the field, they laid the final piece of sod today.
So it's finished.
We'll have plenty of time to go ahead and root. It's raining right now, which obviously water's good for the grass to grow. Go figure. So we're in a really, really good place for it. It sounds like it will take a couple weeks for the roots to truly set in. We have a soccer game on it March 22nd, which will be the first event on the new field. So although everything will go completely okay with it, it will make sure that everything's ready for baseball. Once the soccer match is done, they'll go ahead and take up all the sod covering the infield, which again is really weird to look outside and say, wow, we've got a new field. I saw them lay the infield, but it's all covered in grass. It was really bizarre. But it will be good. It will be ready to go for April 11th.
Okay. I'll be nervous for you then. Such big things like that. Like, I get nervous. So it's just, you never know. You just never know. So, I mean, like on that topic, you guys put in new speakers, had all the presentation, the picture-in-picture that you all did with your broadcast was sweet last year. Are you adjusting anything this year from last year now that you guys are going to have more eyes on you? So like MLB.com is allowing all subscriptions to watch minor leagues. And 3 out of 4 Rockies affiliates are able to be watched, so more eyes on you. I'm sure that's gone through your head. Like, is it any nervousness around that? You switching up anything? Because I've always loved your broadcast. It's always been great. Just like anything new in the works for that, or
Sure, absolutely. So I think it's not quite as much switching from or switching to being on MLB.TV as much as we now have a full year of experience, both with the video board and our new production under our belt, right? Going into last year, we were so ecstatic to be able to put on the product we did, given that we didn't turn on the video board until the night before opening night.
Yeah. Still a little mad I missed that opening day walk off.
I know.
I'm still upset.
I know. So, there were obviously a handful of hiccups at the beginning of last year, which unfortunately, you talk about big projects like the field, right? That was a really big project where you're redoing the infrastructure that's 20 plus years old at the ballpark. So this year we've got new graphics packages for our broadcasts, both in park and what you'll see on MLB, MLB.TV. So, just continuing to refine that. We felt that we were in a really good place towards the end of last year with our broadcast. So, what else can we do now that we know how everything works? We have a new camera angle behind home plate that we're really excited about. Our wireless cameras, we're changing how we handle them because occasionally they would go in and out during broadcasts, which we weren't thrilled with, obviously. So making those tweaks during the off season to make sure that come April 11th, where we've done everything we can to help hit the ground running with the best show we can provide.
And the crew that we have running it too is the best. I mean, we're fortunate to have a bunch of people who not only have years under their belt, but also have a passion for bringing that entertainment and that value. And the thing is too, is that if they weren't happy with what the product would be, they will find a way to make sure that product is perfect. And Jonathan and everyone else that has been behind the scenes making sure that this happens, you guys are going to be in for a great, great season.
Yeah, well, and, I think Stephen alludes to a really important thing that I want to make sure I note, and I'd be remiss if I didn't, that we have a phenomenal crew. The group that put in our video board, their company's name is Visua. Yeah. They have a different company called Virch, and what they focus on is your game day side of things, right? So Visua is the AV technology, making sure your video board turns on. Virch is the, okay, you've got all this cool tech, now how the heck do you use it, right? So we work hand in hand with the entire team over there, and they're the ones who produce our games. And even though our technical director is sitting in a room in Wisconsin, he is able to produce games here in Fresno. Yeah. And that's we're one of the only minor league baseball teams to have that kind of setup, and it really shows in our product, right? We're able to take these technical directors who are producing not only our games every season, but hundreds of games across the United States, and provide their skill set for our show, provide their graphics, their transitions and expertise. It really has helped take our show to the next level, both on the broadcast and in venue.
And they're not here. And so for them to they'll still come down here to the ballpark and travel across and come hang out with us for a little bit. And they get to know our staff, they get to know our game day staff, and they get to know everyone in between, and they're so passionate about it, and they're miles away from us. Yeah. And we love that. It is amazing for what they've been able to do for us.
Yeah, that's fun.
Fun. You guys have one of the best just presentations I've seen in minor league baseball. So
thank you.
It's good to know there's even more, ironing out that's being done. That's exciting.
I mean, some of the hype, like I've already seen our Rally Ninth video, which is, what we play when, although it doesn't happen often if we're losing going into the bottom of the ninth inning, what we play to hype up our fans. And I mean, it is loads above what we've had in previous years, which is really cool, to know that we've got this other team who we really treat as members of our front office, knocking out this content for us that, we don't necessarily have the abilities to do in-house. So we can absolutely expect a phenomenal product on the broadcast this year,
taking us behind the scenes all the way, like
of course
learn a little bit about Fresno, and then also learn a little bit how it's all being produced and stuff. Like I didn't know that. Like that's sweet. I just assumed like you were making the graphics and like Julian
Yeah.
is sometimes just like put it up there and see how it
You never
goes.
know.
Hey, you give him the opportunity, I'm sure he would. Yeah, we have a really good relationship where they'll handle all of the broadcast graphics, a lot of the video board graphics, and I'll handle a lot more of the day-to-day, social media stuff you see, website, things like that. So it's really having an entire content creation team who isn't here in Fresno, which is really unique for us.
Yeah, that's wild. That's wild. All right, let's talk baseball. So some players coming in Fresno. You talked to family of the pod, also K-Dub, for his Purple Row article about what to expect at Fresno. So I think I want to play a game with you. Me and Tyler will take turns giving you names. Confirm or deny. So I want to. I'm seeing how much you're going to give me and or how much you know.
Well, we don't know our team, so they're all projections.
So there's only so
Right.
much we have to give.
Yes. But I can say if they're confirmed on my projection versus denying the projection.
Let's do that. Yeah. So this is adjacent to a game that me and my friends play. It's like 0-1. Like usually it's a beer related. So would you drink that again? 1, or would you not drink again? 0. So like it's something related to that. So maybe let's go 0-1 instead of confirm or deny. So we can't screen grab. It was confirmed by Steven. So I'll save you in that sense.
Confirmed all of it.
Just
0 is deny and 1 is confirmed.
yeah, right. Like go all the way across it. So my first name, I think this is an easy one. Jordy Vargas.
1.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then
All right. Starting at shortstop, do we have Mr. Ryan Ritter 0-1?
1.
Okay. All right.
this one I'm interested in. Gabriel Hughes.
0.
I figured with that one.
Does that make you sad?
Yes.
Because
Yes,
I mean,
he's one of the most polished pitchers I've seen come out of college in a long time. The guy has the build already. I mean, 6'5". I mean, the guy has a good downward plane, good fastball on it. He already is brilliant up here too. That is the thing that I love about him. And he's very quiet, but that's because he's learning about every single thing that he's doing. And I love that about him. I wish we had him a little bit more. He is one of only 2 guys ever from Alaska to play for the Grizzlies in our team history. So I wish we had a little bit more chance to talk to him about that.
And good for him. He's going back to his college stomping grounds for hopefully not that long. Probably not that long. But good for him spending a little bit of time in Spokane again. But kind of in his place, 0 or 1, Jackson Cox.
1. I mean, when you talk about a guy from, I want to say is it Tootle High School or Tuttle High School?
I would say
one
Tuttle.
Your guess is as good as ours.
So I mean, I think he's here. And I think that at the same time too, I think he could be possibly the opening day starter if I had to guess.
Okay.
Yeah, I can
Heard
see
it here first.
Yeah, there's our screen grab. Potential. We'll leave out the word potential that started that sentence.
Right.
Opening day starter. Yeah, it's definitely him or Jordy that are starting there. But
I have 1 2, so
yeah.
I see that 1 2.
Yeah. Zach Agnos.
1. Yeah. I mean, the thing is, I mean, he's a 2-way guy. I mean, they've been using him as a pitcher, but at the same time, too, I mean, he had a good bat in college. And so why not give him a chance at the field, too, if it comes down to it? I mean, he'll be fun. I think he's a middle relief kind of guy more than anything. But if he has a good spring, you never know what can happen. I see him as a very similar Tyler Ahern kind of setup kind of guy.
Okay. So you definitely see him being in the arm bar instead. Okay.
Absolutely.
Still a bit of a mystery, I think, to Rockies fans. Dion Jorge.
Okay. 1, but it's like a 0.5. And the reason
no, that's not the game. You're not even playing it right.
1, if his visa clears and he's able to get over here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now you've actually heard it here first, because that is a
thing.
nugget that none of us would have remotely had a key in on.
Yeah. We talked to Adam McKillican about that a little bit. He's a Banter session coming up soon. Spoiler alert. But his story about getting his visa and like almost signing with the Rangers before, it's insane. Yes, I'm making you go listen to get the whole story, but it's incredible, like how much detail, like behind the scenes stuff, has to be done by Visa, and you have to be worried about it. Like that's the thing. It's crazy.
I know a lot of players who are still down in the DSL for the Rockies who aren't here, and it's kind of like confusing. And then they go, no, it's a visa issue more than anything than them actually dominating. So it depends for a lot of these guys, but I would say because of a visa thing. But I would say 1 if he's here.
Okay.
So,
I still don't like the 0.5, but whatever. We'll let it slide. Jordan Beck.
1. And I
okay.
think that he could be the big bopper at the beginning of the lineup. But he won't be here long. Kind of a warming Bernabel kind of situation where he'll prove what he needs to do, and then he'll go back to Spokane or even Hartford and do his thing.
Okay.
And I got one more in here. Kind of from the area, Brady Hill. Not quite the area, but
I mean, San Jose guy. Again, a two-way player as well too. Is two-way at Washington State initially. I'm going to say 1 as well for him. And again, a guy kind of like Agnos, where kind of can do a little bit of everything. I think he goes in the arm barn as well.
And he's just give him some love out here. He's crazy because I've seen he can run home to first 4 seconds. That's elite. And he can gun it up to 98 on the hill. And that is pretty elite too.
When you have a guy that has that ability, and the Rockies are getting him he's a mid-round guy. He's not a guy that they got in the first couple rounds, which means teams were not high on him initially. And the Rockies just go, cool, we'll go take him. And he's put up amazing numbers so far in pro ball. So I hope that it continues here in Fresno.
Yeah. That would be so much fun to be that athletic. And I think I say that at least like 3 times a pod. Just being that athletic would be so insane. Right. So, all right, so the game's over. Nice job. I think you win. But like, are there any like repeats you think that are coming back? There's a few names I have in mind, but just kind of throw some names that you might be able to repeat seeing from last year.
I think the biggest one, and I don't know how much you guys know about this guy, Gabriel Barbosa is kind of my big name guy this year. Barbosa joined us at the last week when Hughes joined us as well for the playoff hunts. Only 21 years old, from Brazil. He's only one of 2 players in Grizzlies history also from Brazil, so kind of cool stat with him as well. But Barbosa was considered, according to Baseball America, the best control in the Rocky system. Well, I believe he only has 14 walks in 122 innings or something along those lines. I know it's 122 or somewhere around there, but he is unbelievable as a pitcher. He's going to be probably a starter, can go 5 or 6 innings, still needs to build into his body a little bit, but joined us at the end of last year. I see him coming back, but one thing I love about Barbosa, he speaks 3 languages, but he's also a good guy. Fun little story with him real quick is that last game of the season, team had already lost. Everyone's upset about it. He stayed after everyone else had left and cleaned the clubhouse before our clubby got to it. 20 years old when he did that. Are you kidding me? Like, what kind of upbringing? I mean, that is amazing upbringing right there for a guy to do that. We're so happy that he could possibly be back here, and I don't see why he wouldn't be. So Gabriel Barbosa is the first one. Another one you said was a guy who was here last year as well. That came up with Jordan Beck was Sterling Thompson. I see him as probably a guy that's a middle of the lineup kind of guy as well. How long will he be here? Probably not long at all, but the guy played third base when he was here, and he was not a projected third baseman when drafted. So I don't know if they want to keep him at third or if they want to move him around the diamond or put him back in the outfield and see what he can truly do as a utility guy. But the bat's already there. We saw it in the playoffs. He had a home run against Lake Elsinore. So I see Thompson back here. And then the final one, this is going to be a surpriser. Arm barn guy is Francis Rivera, a little sidearm guy, was really good for us in the back half of the season last year. The only reason I see him coming back is I think we need a guy to be a setup or a closer, and he was the most efficient last year. And age-wise, I think he still needs some growth when it comes to here. So I think he could start here as well. And again, all projected. If I'm wrong, so be it.
Nice little disclaimer right there at the end. No, we never get anybody like that. We try to keep it honest, but it's always fun. Yeah, like it's kind of different because like you don't have like it's kind of your first year without like a Veen, a Montgomery, like that star-studded guy. I mean, no offense to Gabriel Hughes, but like just first round pitchers don't get the same notoriety as that first round position player, right? Like that's the saving grace. So it's not any of that. It's just like it's kind of your first time like not having that go-to Rockies prospect to see. Like, I mean, it's just a little different.
I mean, the cool thing too is that we have a possible rotation where you have 3 guys in the top 20 or top 30 prospects.
Yeah.
If you take Jordy Vargas, who's 13, Jackson Cox, I believe, is now 9 or 10, and then Carson Palmquist, the left-hander, who has been similar to Chris Sale in terms of comp. He's 22, I believe. So when you have 3 of the top 30 in your rotation, come on, how is that not good enough to come see a team play? You know,
seriously, the starting rotations across the board for the Rockies affiliates, it's studly. So, and the fact that you're having a 19, 20-year-old going 2 out of 5 days with Palmquist coming in there, it's going to be fun. It's going to be interesting. Like, there's always going to be a reason to show out. Like, whether it's the Pickle Palooza or is the talent on the field, like it's going to be a blast. And then if all those fails, you got Parker Bear running around somewhere, like just getting hugs.
Oh,
so
that bear. He's in so much trouble.
Love that. I think that's it. Like we talked Fresno. I think it's good. Is there anything else that we should know that we didn't ask?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing, is that year in and year out, we are constantly trying to one up ourselves, right? So, last year we took a huge focus on reinventing how we did our game day entertainment side of things. This year, we're way ahead of schedule in terms of getting the word out about the team, making sure that everyone knows what promotions are happening when and all that. So we're really looking forward to another incredible year. We truly think that this one, again, it's our 25th season as an organization, which we're extremely proud about. And it's going to be one to definitely come out and see. Plus, all of these absolutely phenomenal future Rockies coming through here. It's going to be one to remember for a
Absolutely.
While. Actually, I changed my mind. After that beautiful speech, Johnny, I apologize. Well, I always like to end it with our banter sessions with the others. I don't know if I've ever asked you guys this. What's your favorite baseball moment? Personal favorite baseball moment of all time, and you get to be completely selfish. It can be working with the Grizzlies, it can be playing Little League, it can be any of it. But yeah, let's go with that. I'm not gonna do you dirty
Go
like
ahead,
that.
Johnny.
Sure, absolutely. I mean, I think there's 2 that come to mind for completely different reasons. There's my best memory in terms of like the sport, right? Of getting to go, what happened on the field. Growing up in the Bay Area, Giants fan, as much as I know that's potentially a sin on the podcast. But getting to go NLDS game 1 in 2010, watching Tim Lincecum just absolutely shut up was absolutely incredible. So, sitting right behind home plate for that one was a memory that is like, yeah, that's right. This is why I'm a baseball. This is why I'm a baseball fan. It's these moments. Professionally, a home opener in 2021 after everything we had gone through, to be able to say, yeah, we're still here. Baseball still exists. Obviously making it through the 2020 no season, right? And even though it was a limited capacity, still to be able to have that first pitch after that break is something I will literally remember for the rest of my life.
I mean, mine similar to JB in terms of it. It's actually has to do with the Giants as well. 2010 World Series game 1 and 2. Juan Uribe hit a go-ahead home run in the World Series, and I remember walking down the tunnel and just everyone Juan Uribe, and just it was the sound, the electricity was something I'll never forget. But professionally, it has to be in 2019. I got a chance to interview my dad for a pregame show for a broadcast, and just sitting on the field, there was a picture taken of my dad and I, and just being able to share the field with Pops. Can't forget that. Yeah.
That's going to take the cake almost every time. It kind of upsets me that other fan bases have game 163 moments like that. Like the Juan Uribe thing that you just said, that was game 163 afterwards. Like it was just insane. Like I'm so glad I was there for that moment. It's just to take over that feeling. You will never forget that.
Absolutely.
So I love it. Baseball's so much fun. Whether it has a pitch clock or not, it's a beautiful sport. It's a fantastic game. We can all find beauty in it. Fellas, I love this. I love you guys. This was great. thank you for hanging out, and
course.
let's go Grizz.
Go Grizz.
Absolutely. It's so
Go
good
Grizz.
to see you guys. Thank you so much for having us on as always.
Come to Fresno.
I'm seriously considering it this summer. So if
Let's do it, man.
if
Come
it
on.
comes to fruition, you guys are gonna hear about it.
Oh yeah.
Before it's in action.
Like, let's make that happen. I'll talk to management later. All right, y'all. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.